Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the AfterShock EpiCenter live stream. I'm your host and the Senior Retail Relations Manager here at AfterShock Comics, RuthAnn Thompson. And we have quite a few series coming out for tomorrow's new comic book day on November 3rd. So let's jump right into it. We have a brand new series called The Heathens from our all-star horror writer, Cullen Bunn, and he's working with Heath Armando with artist Sammy Cavella on this series, which is all about evil men and women when they escape from the depths of eternal abyss. The pirate queen lady she has sent to retrieve them. But why? But because one of history's most notorious killers breaks free, even she needs help. So enter the Heathens. She, Lucky Luciano, Bumpy Johnson, Sophia the Golden Hand, and Billy the Kid. From hell they came from to meet out justice as dark as their own tormented soul. So this is kind of a fun play on even our Rough Riders titles to League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but now we have all of the most evil of evil coming together to fight more evil. So this is coming from, like we said, Cullen Bunn, who we've known from all of this stuff, Eden, Piecemeal, Dark Arc, I could go on for days. Heath Armando, who you might know from Super Clean, and illustrated by superstar Sam Cavella, who, if you haven't read Undone by Blood, absolutely do it, and his artwork is fantastic. And welcome everybody to the stream. Paul Dunn, can't wait for you to read that as well. Welcome, welcome. So next up for tomorrow's new comic book day on November 3rd is what we've been really waiting for, the After Dark 48-page prestige format one-shot. So this has many stories from our top creative talent, and this was brought together by publisher and chief creative officer Joe Pruitt, and this is with 4 stories. So we have one from none other than Cullen Bunn and Cliff Richards, which is called Dust to Dust. And Cullen has to say about it, it's a bittersweet sort of horror tale, a story of love and lost and undying commitment, both to the fleeting time that we have on this earth and the time we'll have in whatever's next, says Bunn. And so if you read Eden, his latest one-shot with us, it's kind of has that same feel. It's definitely a melding of 2 genres of the kind of romance and horror that you don't really expect from Cullen, but it's quite amazing. Oh, Robert, thank you so much. Is new to this publisher, so I'm so glad that you have joined us. Welcome, welcome, and hopefully you will enjoy all of these titles as much as we did. The next story that is in this incredible one-shot is a story from Frank Thierry, who he has his horror tale, Along Came a Spider, and this kind of leads in perfectly to his upcoming book with us as well. So this is, we did a short story in for Shock anthology called Little Red Riding Hood, which was essentially the Little Red Riding Hood story as if it was told by Quentin Tarantino or, Martin Scorsese. So very dark, very intense. In that story, Red was a drug courier, Grandma was a drug dealer, and the wolf was a rival drug lord. Mother Goose was a mob boss called Don Orca. I just love it so much. Anyway, you get the idea. As it turns out, it was one of the most popular stories in that book. So we thought, hey, what the hell? Why not do more? Why not play into that whacked out universe again? So we got the Little Red Riding Hood band together of Joe Eisma and Matt Herms back together for one more tale to ruin your childhood. So for anybody that caught the New York Comic Con panel, we talked a little bit of the upcoming title that ties into this as well, called The Tales of Mother F. Goose from Frank Thierry, which will be coming out in December. So it's a great way to lead you into that. And then meanwhile, we also have Thanos creator Jim Starlin, who simply calls his horror story Inheritance, and it's illustrated by Nicole Jelinek, and he calls it a tale of catastrophic generational dissatisfaction set in a dystopian future. Lots of laughs. So yeah, that's a good one sentence way of describing it. And that's all I want to say about it. You got to check it out. And then finally, for me, the crown jewel of this After Dark prestige format book is Joe Pruitt comes back for a standalone tale set in the same world as the title Black Eyed Kids. And he says, we will see some familiar faces in the new story, but you do not have to have been a reader of the original series to enjoy it. He says, this is very new reader friendly. So if you haven't gotten a chance to read all of Black Eyed Kids, which is absolutely terrifying and based on the real life occurrences all around the world of these creepy children that just show up and horrible things happen, this is a great way to kind of get you into the story or revisit the story that you've missed so much. Hey, Max, biggest AfterShock comics fan lately. Yes, great stuff, Max. I'm so glad that you're enjoying our stuff. I am as well. Next up for our new comic book titles coming out tomorrow for November 3rd is Campisi, The Dragon Incident #3. So this continues James Patrick's incredible genre mashing of dragons and mobster stories with artist Marco Locati. And Sonny Campisi is learning very quickly that dragons are a real pain in the keister. But you can't fool them, you can't bribe them, and you can't kick their teeth in. On top of that, he has to stop some of the neighborhood idiots from trying to take care of the problem themselves with their beer muscles. And then Sonny Mob Boss, Mr. Rossi, is growing very impatient with this dragon situation and is about to make a very poor decision. And if Sonny can't manage every single problem, the neighborhood he grew up in will be burned to the ground, quite literally. So if you're into Dragon Tales, which I might be, I highly suggest this title as well. Last but not least, coming out for tomorrow's new comic book day is our final issue of Out of Body, this very fun title from writer Peter Milligan and one of our favorite artists of the last 2 years, Anaki Miranda. And this continues the story of Dan, who he woke up in a coma, unsure of who tried to kill him, and so he's been using the astral plane to try to figure out who tried to kill him and why, before time runs out and he literally gets unplugged. So Dan's uncanny near-death experience comes to a shocking and unexpected climax as he's used for bait to lure Abby McGrath's astral into the clutches of the dark magician August Frine. Meanwhile, in an effort to pay Dan's medical bills, Dan's brother does something real stupid. You appreciate the effort, but oh boy. So between a demonic visitation, a disgusting multicellular organism, a suicide, a funeral, and Dan's trippiest journey yet into the astral plane, inside the body of a dying man. All this and more in this drop-dead gorgeous next story of Out of Body. So if you haven't been picking this up, this is the time to get all 5 issues and check it out. Paul Dunn, you do need to pick up Baby Teeth Compendium because it is that will be coming out soon, and it is finished. That was actually my first title ever that I picked up from AfterShock. So all good stuff. And guys, guess what? This Thursday we have yet another happy hour. So as you know, we love to do our every other week happy hour live stream and live sale. And this week I am so stoked to have the incredible legend of Jim Starlin on. And we're going to have some incredible stuff to sell from him. So we have not only our After Dark Prestige format one shot, it's going to be signed by Joe Pruitt, but we're also going to have the incentive cover from it signed by Joe, as well as the Baltimore Comic-Con exclusive cover that's signed by Joe. So all really awesome stuff. We also have the art of Jim Starlin. If you haven't checked that out, it's a 328-page hardcover retrospective. Absolutely gorgeous. And we're going to sell it for half the price that it usually is. So you guys have to join this. We got Shock Volume 1 signed edition that also includes Jim Starlin's work, as well as AfterShock's mouse pads and so much more. So make sure you join us on this Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Pour yourself a drink and join me and Jim Starlin as we dive into his career and all the incredible titles that he's done with us. Thank you so much, Christopher, also saying I love AfterShock too. Dark Arc and Baby Teeth are some of my favorites. Awesome sauce. And then let's see who else we got here. Christopher, Pestilent hardcover was also very great. Yes, it was very good and sold out very quickly at New York Comic Con. And we have some incredible titles coming your way. So in the spotlight, we have one of my favorite titles that came out in this last year, which is Shadow Doctrine. We have the trade paper coming out that has the entire story of all 5 issues. And this is based on the absolute true story of Peter Calloway's real life grandfather, who was one of the first Black men to get his medical degree in the 1920s in Chicago. Unfortunately, because of the times, nobody would give him a loan to open up his own practice, and no one would hire him except for none other than Al Capone. And he became his personal doctor for Al Capone and his all of his mobsters, and it's beautifully illustrated by George Jonti, who really encapsulate the time as well as just the heartfelt story of this man who didn't even tell his family about this until his deathbed, and it's one of those stories that like I cannot even imagine how grateful like all of us at Aftershock are to have this story told with us, and just it's incredible that it even happens. It's all true and absolutely bananas. Also fast approaching, and I know we have a lot of horror fans who can't wait for this. We have Maniac of New York, The Bronx is Burning, #1, brought to you by writer Elliot Kalan and incredible artist Andrea Muti, who I just can't get enough of him. So he is back for another slice in this next volume, and I can't wait to see what happens next. It's very exciting. We also have Phantom on the Scans complete series all locked up in one beautiful trade paperback, and this is another one from Cullen Bunn and artist Mark Torres, who is so incredibly talented that not only did he do the art for this, but each issue actually has a QR code for music that he wrote and performed himself that just puts you in the mood for this incredibly creepy, terrifying title. I highly suggest it for all of our horror fans out there. And the order deadline for that is November 8th, and that will be in shops on December 1st. So make sure you check that out. And in case you missed it, we had a brand new announcement of a new title from Garth Ennis and artist PJ Holden called The Lion and the Eagle. So this harkens back to another World War II story. So for all of those war story fans, this artwork, the story is intense and amazing. So this is back in 1944, Imperial Japan still commands most of Asia. Determined to regain their hold on Burma, the British send special forces units deep behind Japanese lines. Their mission is to attack the enemy wherever they find them. What awaits them is a nightmare unequal to anything the Second World War can deliver. So we follow Keith Crosby and Alistair Whitmore as they have old scores to settle, being veterans of the long retreated through Burma 2 years before. But neither the jungle nor the foe have gotten any less savage, and when the shooting starts and the Japanese descend on the smaller British force in their midst, every man will be tested to his absolute limit. So if you don't know who Garth Ennis is, I would be surprised, but he brought us The Boys, Preachers, Dreaming Eagles with Us, a few other titles, and artist PJ Holden, who you might know from The String Bags, World of Tanks, Judge Dredd, just to name a few. And this is a tale of hellish jungle warfare as apparently civilized human beings descend into apocalyptic heart of darkness. So for all of those war story fans, you can't get any better than Garth Ennis. It's absolutely beautiful. So, and Max just says, just grab the Maniac stuff cover and it's fantastic. Yes, it is. One of my favorite things about Maniac of New York is that the writer, Elliot Kalan, basically this was just born out of the fact that he was so disappointed by the Jason in New York movie from years and years ago. So this is a much, much better version of it. And this is the movie we all wanted. So it's going to be great. So guys, make sure I want to see all of you for the happy hour live stream and live sale this Thursday at 5 p.m. It's going to be incredible with Jim Starlin. And make sure to stay safe out there. Wash your hands, wear your masks, keep your distance, and only read dangerously. We'll see you on Thursday. Bye now.